láyé olúgbọ́n mo ké borùn méje ẹ ò máa kọ yí lórin láyé àrẹ̀sà mo ké borùn mẹ́fà ẹ ò máa kọ yí lórin láyé ìsẹ̀yìn èmi ra kókò mo ra rán mo ra sányán bàbá sọ àfọ̀lẹ́ ló lè pélé.
Hello everyone, my name is Adeyemo Adegbemiga Ganiu and I welcome you to my new Yoruba Abrahamic YouTube video. Today I want to talk about the reality of the biblical curse upon the Israelites being the same as Yoruba people or the Oya Sheriala, the people of the book, whose history and tradition names were all over the Torah text, and what is really playing out in reality across Yoruba land. But to be frank, it is actually normal for a Yoruba person or peoples to egoistically brag or deny that the Yoruba people are cursed. And that is very understandable simply because the term curse or the word curse carries so many weight. But the truth is the truth after understanding the depth of our misunderstanding of our depth problem in Yoruba land. And to some Africans as well, they might actually also find it as a problem that they actually find it not as a big deal, that what the Yoruba people is not so different to what the other Africans too are experiencing at the hands of these white people. So it's not a big deal. But realistically, if you look deeper into what the Yoruba people were capable of in the ancient days, what they possess is what they had as an heritage and still have it today, even though they don't value it. It's safe to say that their experiences today is more like a curse. It's not like a curse, it's a real curse with details. In the ancient day, the Yoruba people literally had the heavens and earth in their palms. The privileges, the highest divinity that is enough to control heaven at will. And some of the things they had, which they hold as an heritage, which they are still possessing today, and no tribe in the entire universe was able to replicate, was what we know as the Oracle of the Almighty in the Torah, which is better known as the Oracle Ifa Eledumare, because then they said it's Oracle of El, but among the Yoruba is Oracle of Eledumare. They are reference to the same figure under different lengths. So this is what the Yoruba people they had in ancient day. That alone makes them very unique, because possessing the property of Oracle, being a gift directly from your creator, is like just picking a random mobile set and dialing the number of the Almighty in above. Heaven, please, I need so thing like this. And the Almighty, you can't expect less. He will give you 100% answer to whatever difficulty you are facing on earth, because He is actually your creator. He knows you in and out. He knows the stage you are in your life. He knows how to solve your problem. He knows everything that can liberate you from your present unfavorable situation. So the Yoruba has every reason to be doing great then, because they are directly consulting their creator, and this is a privilege they possess which no tribe never had, because they were actually who they are to heaven. So one way or the other, these people, they lost their mojo. It could be out of gullibility from the horizon biblical curse, from what it is said, because the Yoruba people, they eventually abandoned this their gifted birthright, a divine one, then began to chase a delusion or an unexisting miracle. They will say, if you have a faith, don't question anything. Once you have a faith, your life will be okay. Once you have this, you can't have a faith and said you are hungry and say by faith you will be okay. You must look for food to eat. Those kind of faith things, these are diversion. Your faith will move mountain. Ever since you are born, have you ever seen any faith moving mountain? So I don't know how come we find ourselves in this kind of mess. So this same Yoruba people, out of complete ignorance, or should I say arrogancy, or should I say out of their self-confusion, they begin to sell all that their ancestors gave them. They begin to sell it to an alien, and this alien really value what they need what you have, but they need to make you understand. They need to make you feel that what you have is bad. So they have to give you a religion so that you continue chasing shadow while taking what you have to better their own self, leading to why today they've taken these aliens, they took whatever you will see in Yoruba land mostly. I don't know, maybe it's happening in other non-Yoruba states, whether in Nigeria or beyond Nigeria, whereby these Europeans, they will come in 2 or 3, sometimes in group. They will visit different Yoruba villages, whereby they will be telling them that accept Jesus, accept this one, accept Muhammad, and they will be telling you your traditional things are bad, bring it, we will help you burn it. In some cases, they will even pay the traditional household, Idile, and they will pay them huge money. They will take all their Orisha, the deity, they will take it abroad. What do you think they are using it for? You think they are still stupid like we Africans? These are what they are taking to Europe to go and better their own life through, like Ifa, through the Ifa that Yoruba people rejected out of ignorance. They took that Ifa, they modernized it in abroad, they explore all the knowledges revolving it, and they created what we know today as technology. Without technology today, where would the world be? So they continually use it to their own advantage to know knowledges beyond the common human. Why we continue to chase shadow, we continue to tell ourselves tales by moonlight stories, fiction stories of this might legend that doesn't exist, when we have the root of all the story, which is Ifa Eledumare. So in a nutshell, these people were very intelligent, they were very clever, and they saw the vulnerability among the Yoruba people, so they gave them religion to keep looking for miracle, from why they collected the direct gift which the Almighty gave them. So for you, it's for many non-Yoruba people, they will still say, how does that Ifa now concerns us? It is the Yoruba people that throw away what heaven gave them. If you don't understand what Ifa is, Ifa has so many attributes. Ifa is like an umbrella that consists of so many valuable things you can learn from it. But the major part of it, which I personally picked out of it, which I see that the world can't even exist without them, had to do with the creation of civilization through Ifa. Without Ifa, you won't be listening to what I'm saying. You won't be using AI. AI, it was derived from Ifa. GSM was derived from Ifa. Let me chip in something who don't understand what Ifa means or how it works or what the Yoruba people have been practicing before the coming of GSM in 21st century. In Yoruba land, I might leave my village. Maybe I'm from Kano or something. I just want to say, okay, let me visit US or let me visit Egypt, and I go by foot. My people will carve. I learned it that they will carve a statue in my image, that will look like me. They will do the necessary rituals around it. So even though I'm not at home, that image will represent my spirit at home. If I now walk to Egypt, I leave Nigeria and walk to Egypt, and I'm now spending 1 month, my family will be looking, they will be monitoring that sculpture they carved in my own spirit. If I'm sick in Egypt and I don't see any help, they will know from that small carve in my image at home. They will be giving me healing medicine on that carve. They will be pouring it on it, and it will be having a positive effect at where I am. In some cases, they will be speaking to that doll, that sculpture that were done in my spirit, and I will be listening wherever I am in far Egypt, thousands of miles apart. That is exactly what GSM is. You can't tell me that you are calling someone from Nigeria to the United States and you actually think it's a miracle. So that is what it means. So for every religionist today who continuously demonizes Ifa, Isese tradition, I'm sorry, that is where all your microphone that you are using in church, where it's coming from. It's coming from Ifa. The GSM phone you are using is coming from Ifa. The aeroplane you are riding from Nigeria to Hajj to America to come is coming from Ifa. Your television, YouTube you are using, which one we are seeing now, is coming from Ifa. So if you want to do away with tradition, be fair, be sincere, go and live in the forest, go and live out of civilization. Then we will know that you actually want to deal with tradition. But you can't be putting one leg in tradition, be putting one leg in religion, and be demonizing religion. Even your book said it, that heaven hates hypocrites. So that is exactly what Ifa can do, and that's how Ifa has the ability to change the world. So if the world gave glory to the Almighty through Ifa, then you should also realize that it also came from a very particular tribe, who are the Yoruba people, and who are also known as the people of the Almighty. And it's actually a gift, not a cost. That is number one part of the attribute of Ifa. Number two of Ifa had to do with how Ifa actually gave birth to the world religion, particularly the Abrahamic religion. Imagine over billions of people are into Christianity, are into Islam and everything, and they both uses Quran, the Quran, the Bible, the Judea Bible, whatever stuff like that. All the narratives are references to the same Yoruba people, and these same Yoruba people, directly or indirectly, they pledge to the same Ifa. This is why everything, the Yoruba culture, the Yoruba way of life, the Yoruba principle norms is all coming from Ifa. So can you really do without all this book that you are reading? And the Lord said, we shall do this, that do that, that do that, all this. Can you really do without Ifa? Or can you really do without tradition? One can bobo with the way they change English to make it sweet. I am going to the market. They will turn it to I that go and me that market. What is that? They are just playing with your intelligence. That is exactly what is happening. So directly without Ifa and the Yoruba people's Orisha, there will be nothing like the story for you to even promote your religion. That is how powerful Ifa legacy and the traditions of the people are. The third thing I want to talk about, that Ifa speaks about knowledge. This knowledge had to do with the whole universe. Ifa teaches us what is entailed in the universe, the science, technology, geography. Ifa teaches us, and aside from that, it also teaches us knowledge about life, how to handle every situation in terms of when someone's sick. This is what you should do. This is what you should do. This is the ritual rite you should do. One must have been living under a rock for him to deny that ritual is not what the Abraham people does. Adam, Cain, and Abel, it is ritual. They are not clapping. They didn't go to church. They didn't go to mosque. Moses, they sacrifice. They slaughter rams. This is the traditional way of life. None of them go to church. None of them even know what is called religion. So it's all about tradition, and this tradition, the names, the location, they actually references to the Judean people of West Africa, from Dahomey to Ile-Ife, Omo Yo, Omo Ile-Ife, they are all. So that is another thing you also need to look about Ifa. And the most important part of it, which is all about this video, had to do with the rules of Ifa in breakdown. The rules can also be likened to the principles of Ifa, which the modern people may kind of liken to the real commandment of heaven, not the real, because the 10 commandments, I've made videos about it and people already knew today that those ones are merely extracted one from the Mahat Lord of the Egyptian. It's not coming from, and the Lord even predated the coming of Moses. That is something you also need to acknowledge. So it's never about Moses. The real law, which the Abrahamic people, the prophet, everything evolves within that same Ifa. Because Ifa are what the Abrahamic people, from prophets, from kingdoms, from intellectuals, from elders of village, what they practice, and it was divine in the Abrahamic book. So the law, the principle that surround it are what the people of the book misplaced. They lost it on their way. That is exactly what it means. So the Yorubas were initially meant to continuously uphold this Ifa tradition, which is supposed to make them the gateway or the face of righteousness that the rest of human beings were meant to follow. But according to, and like it is said in the Bible as well, that the Yoruba people, the Israelites, they were the, how would I say it? Anyone who curses them, the Almighty will curse them. Anyone who bless them, the Almighty will bless them. And the statement also ended up saying, and the world shall be blessed through them. If you don't know the gravity, the Almighty is basically saying that if these people, the Oyasheda people of the book of the Ifa tradition, if they don't get it right, the world will continuously fall apart, because they were meant to be the gateway to the prosperous life. And if these same people get it right, sanity will return back to humanity. Because those who are running the world today, they are people who are historically don't have any good record in terms of making the world a better place. They were known for their atrocities on humanity, invasion, looting, massacre, genocide, stuff like that, abomination practices, manipulation, falsifying of history, misinformation, trickery, as in that is their legacy. So these are the people who are running the world today, and this is exactly what the Almighty is saying, that if these people don't get it right, the world will be in an imbalance. Just imagine if I am meant, if it is this time for Mr. A to enrich Mr. B, if it is this time for Mr. A to enrich Mr. B in life, practically Mr. B survival lies on Mr. A. If Mr. A fails to do the rightful thing, Mr. B will probably not get rich, because he was meant to tap from the blessings of Mr. A. That is exactly what this verse is saying, that the world will grow through you. But you that the world is looking up to, you've lost your mojo. You're just misbehaving. And the Almighty says something that is very fascinating after all. So it's also not a coincidence that most African intellectual people like Professor Molumba, Mandela, all these people, they said it, that if the black people wants to be respected in the entire universe, Nigerians have to get it right. Why Nigerians? Because the Nigeria is the how would I say, is the foundation of all black peoples, in all black race in the entire universe. And even till today, the Yoruba people still address themselves like their forefathers used to say in their ancient time till today, that Awani Ogo Adudulawo, we are the pillar, the face of all black races. If Yoruba don't get it right, things won't get it back. And why did they say Nigeria as a whole? Please, all my other tribes in Nigeria, I dearly love all of you. This is just for educational purpose and not in any way, I humbly plead, this is not in any way to ridicule anybody. We all have Nigeria, we all grow to Nigeria, but statistically, Yoruba land has always been the forefront of everything in Nigeria, and the reality is there for everyone to see. Prior, before they amalgamated us, Ibadan was the largest city in West Africa, generally behind Egypt, after the European of different migration popping. So practically Ibadan was the largest city, the most civilized, the most prosperous in Africa. And after the mergers as Nigeria again, Lagos State of the same Yoruba people from Ibadan, they still collectively hold the front line of most economic hub of West Africa, things like that. So it is never about being productive as a people. The progressness is in their DNA. Wherever they go, you always see it there. They always have a way of thinking to make something happen out of nothing. So this is exactly what it means, that I will bless you, and it is through you, wherever you are, people will survive. Glorious thing will begin to happen. So let's now go into what the Almighty identify as the sin from the Abrahamic figure, from the Abrahamic context, the actual sin of this Oyashirela or the Yoruba people, what they actually did that led them to be who they are today, that made them to now fall from grace to grace, why they continuously struggling since 400 years till now. What were the sin? You can see in reference to Amos 3 verse 1. I won't read it too much because you can see it on the screen. I just like to highlight it for time's sake. Where the Almighty actually accused the Oya Sheriola and their whole family of not being sincere. They are people of inequality. In breakdown, the verse, according to Almighty, says, you people, the Israelites and your family are alike. The Israelites are the main people. Their family, you people, the Israelites, you are the face of all families on earth. And he also said, and I shall punish you for your inequality. That inequality carries so many weight for those who have wisdom to understand what it means. Let me further break it down. Maybe I can try. Let me say it in the language people might likely be able to relate with. The Almighty is saying, Oya Sheriola, the Yoruba people, you are the face of all families. The world is not divided by families today. The world is divided by tribes. And after tribe, that is when it becomes a continent or race. So the Almighty is basically saying, Oya Sheriola, you are the face of all tribes. Why the Yoruba people call themselves the pillar, the face of black glory, the face of humanity glory? The Bible is also referring to that. You people are the face, the front runner of the glory of the universe. And this is why I shall punish you for your inequality, because I place you in the position of being a leader in terms of things, but you are now becoming the most useless amongst them all. I'm sorry that I used the heavy word useless. We did, as in that is exactly what the thing is basically saying. I don't like sugarcoating word that much. I shall punish you for not showing leadership or balance or equality within you and so many other people around you. That is exactly what the inequality means. Among the Yoruba people, let's further break it down. In Yoruba, inequality in Yoruba means àìṣe déédé, àìkíńṣe déédé. And when we are talking about àìkíńṣe déédé, àìkíńṣe or àìṣe in Yoruba means not doing, or something you meant to do but you cease from doing it. Ṣe déédé means something not doing the exact thing. That is like you have a promise with someone and you are not fulfilling the promise. And you, ṣe déédé, maybe you are meant to pay back a loan to a bank and you've been scheduled to pay every month, but you continuously omit certain week. I can say it, this person could ṣe déédé in the payments. It's not often, as it's not doing it regularly. You are not consistent. Let me say it, you are not consistent. So you can use ṣe déédé for that. You can also say this person is not being fair. Ṣe déédé can also be attributed to something like fair. If you have two wives, or if you have one wife and if you have two wives and people now ask you, are you consistent or are you fair between those wives? I can actually say this person could ṣe déédé between the two wives. You are not being fair to them. So ṣe déédé evolves around you not doing something you were meant to do, not doing something that is ordained for you to do. That is when they said, that is what brought about the idea of the people of the Israelites. They deviate from the laws of the Almighty. So what does these laws now mean? Ibitan Lolade. What does this law now mean? Because by right I've said it, the 10 Commandments of Moses predated Moses. It's coming from the book of the Egyptian Mahat law. So it's not about that law. It's about the tradition. Because if you check out throughout the Abrahamic book, Yeshua referred to traditions of Moses and called it a tradition for eternity. He never said it's a religion of Moses or my ancestor. He never said it's the act of going to church or mosque. He never said with the idea of, and anything outside that, the Yeshua himself said is a tradition to be ordained, to be obliged to tradition to follow till heaven and earth passes away. So what was this tradition? What is it all about? Like I say, it's down to the same Oracle of Almighty, Ifa Eledumare. Because the book, the Abrahamic book, might literally just write it, the Oracle of God. But that Oracle of God has different strings of practices attached to it. Ifa has so many qualities of it, but the most important thing relating to this very topic has to do with the laws of Ifa Kopos, the law that speaks about everything human being must do. It doesn't matter how you ordain it. So it's all about the law. So the question people might tend to ask me after this video, and which I've also seen one or two mail. One of my subscriber mailed me, I think about 2 months ago. He asked me that he told me that he agreed that it is true that we must revert back to the path of our ancestor that was far bigger than that it is the cause that made the Israelites to go astray, that to revert back we have to start fulfilling the law of the Torah commandment. The question, my response in reply to that person is that, was Moses fulfilling, was Adam carrying a book and start reading any law to fulfill? Where Abraham, where Joseph, where Moses, where Yeshua, were they carrying book, any scroll as a law to be fulfilled, to follow? Were they into the writing of anything? Were they into religion? Were they of any book? So to go back to the way that the way we had that makes us to be glorious before religion came, or before the cause even start to play out, it actually means to revert back in the tradition which Yeshua said it will be a tradition for an eternity, and the tradition lies within the Ifa Eledumare. And more so reason to why you can't even go about the book laws, the book you are reading today, either from the Quran or the Quran, is because the Abrahamic prophet, they came from one single lineage. They are they are people of one tribe, one family, one ideology, and everything relating to the laws, the principles of heaven that evolves within Ifa tradition, the Oracle of God that they practices, is naturally embedded in their way of life. Are you telling me, as a Yoruba person, now I have to start telling my children to be reading a book for them to know that they should kneel down to greet me, their father? Are you saying as a Benin man, you actually need a book to know that you have to greet your father early morning when you wake up? Or let me even go outside Yoruba land. As an European, do you actually need a book to be telling you that you must obey the law of your land, or you must obey your parent, or your parent must? These are natural things that comes with your way of life. So the whole idea of practicing the culture, practicing anything, the rule of laws, is all indicating that every related Oya Sheriola must revert back to tradition. That is when your glory will come back. That is when the Almighty will realize that you people are now a serious human being. Anything aside tradition, the traditional way of life, the oracle of the Almighty, which has to do with Ifa Eledumare, you are wasting your time. There is no power. Don't let anybody lie to you. Religion doesn't exist. Book doesn't exist. Book is just what they gave us in recent time to remind us. It's not what our ancestors knew in their early days. Their principle, the law of God, was naturally part of their tradition, and that traditional way of life was what we, the Oya Shela, likewise most African people, have thrown away in replacement of what the European brought to you. So you have to go back to your respective tradition, most especially the Yoruba. You have to go back to your traditional way of life. That is when you can be part. You can go back to the glory where the Almighty wanted you to be. You can see it in Hosea 5-15, like the Almighty was saying that I, the Almighty El, which is Eledumare, or among the traditionalists, said, I will go back to my place until you, Israelites, Oya Shela, now acknowledge your missteps. You now acknowledge your mistake. I will go back to my place means the Almighty will probably start looking at you. If you suffer, go to prayer of mountain, you will tell God if your Jesus was into church. You will tell God if your Muhammad was into mosque. The Almighty saying, after you suffer a lot, I will abandon you, I will look you. The world will keep running over you. You will keep becoming a slave of your own people. You, this Oya Sheriola, your land will become porous to insecurity until you go back to that tradition. It is after when you go back to that tradition, I will now acknowledge that you are now in your right senses. Because come to think of it, in Yoruba land today, without Ifa, we are lost. We've tried everything. Now that the invaders are coming from different to invade the land, why don't you use your Quran and Bible to go and fight them? These are what the Almighty is saying, that until you do what you are supposed to do. That is when I will Almighty will see that you people are ready. That is when I will support you. Because now we have leaders who were meant to be appointed by Ifa that rule different kingdoms. They are being appointed by politics, and you actually want Almighty to be part of our hypocrisy. This is exactly what the Almighty is saying, that you've abandoned your tradition. So it's not about laws. The laws you are looking for is already part of Ifa. And practicing Ifa, doing Isese, supporting them with their tradition, you are naturally fulfilling what the Almighty required of you, and you don't need any more burden upon yourself. So this is where we shall be coming to an end. I've said it, I don't want this video to be long, and and it's already long. So let me press the like button, let me support this channel, let me share it, turn up the notification bell for my new next video, and I'll see you later on. Everyone, bye for now.